Unemployed and Afraid acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this episode on and of the land where you, the listener, are tuning in from. We would like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and extend our respect to any First Nations, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people joining us today, acknowledging that this always was and always will be Aboriginal land.
Welcome to Unemployed and Afraid, a podcast that explores the messy middle of being out on your own and starting over with the people who've done it. I'm your host, Kim Kerton. Thank you for being here. Let's get into today's story of starting over. Hello, and welcome to this brand new pod, Unemployed and Afraid. This voice that you're hearing is me. Hello, hi, I'm Kim Kerton, and I'll be your host as we chat to some incredible humans about their journey of starting over. But before we launch into those chats, I wanted to give you a download of the show, why it exists, and who the bloody hell I am. And for the get to know me part, I'm going to give myself a soft landing because anytime you're doing something new, it's a little bit scary and a little bit crazy. So I thought I would be super soft on myself by roping in my very own mum to ask the questions. So say hi, Mum. Hi, Mum. Very good. Good start. She's visiting with me in Tassie at the moment while I'm preparing to launch this bad boy out into the world. So she's dealing with closed doors and anxiety and all of the fun things that come along with starting a new project that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. So she's going to fire some quick fire interview questions at me so that you can get to know what the pod is all about, why it exists, why you should listen, who I am, and maybe figure out if you can stand listening to my voice over the next who knows how many episodes. No offense if that's not the case. I know that's a thing in the world, but we should probably start by talking a little bit about what this podcast is all about. So, Mama, over to you for these quick fire cues.
Quick fire cues, and I might just say this is totally out of my wheelhouse. I don't even really know what a podcast is. I'm still learning.
Welcome to my world. I have no idea what I'm doing either. So
you're doing really well.
Thank you.
So, Kim, I suppose I would like to know first up what's it all about?
Well, okay, so I should get this down to a really great elevator pitch, but that's one of those pressure points.
An elevator pitch.
Yeah, sure. Good. It's like a short pitch that you can explain in the time it takes you to get from like top floor to ground floor.
Right.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of years in sales, so I should know how to do this in a nutshell, but I don't usually do anything in a nutshell. So I'll do my best in explaining what the podcast is all about. So it's called Unemployed and Afraid, and it's called that because I have and continue to be somewhat unemployed and definitely afraid. So this podcast is about a journey of change or a journey of starting over. So I will go into the full background of me in a little bit, I'm sure, but I had my own journey of starting over, changing from one career into the unknown, and found it difficult to be able to navigate that landscape and not really trusting myself exactly with what I was listening to, engaging with, thinking about. So I was looking for a lot of stories of people who had also gone the gauntlet of starting over. So this pod chats to people who have done that, who have come out the other side of making a big change, but it stays in the messy middle. So the middle bit where people are journeying through the change and they have the ups and the downs, and it's designed to support people who need a little bit of help in making some change in their life, because we don't want to go through these sorts of journeys alone. It takes a bit of an army to get you into a place where you feel more aligned in your life. So this podcast is all about chatting to people who have made big changes, finding out their tips, their strategies, their own journey, so that others can learn and I can learn alongside the stories of others. That is no elevator pitch. That is low.
It's a very tall building with a very long elevator.
And I've also probably missed about 15 points that the show is actually about, but that's cool.
In a nutshell, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. So who are you? From my beautiful daughter.
Thank you. I'll take that. Well, I am, who am I? I'm 36 years old. I always forget how old I am. This morning I said I was 38. I'm not 38. I'm currently 36. I am a daughter.
Yes.
I am a partner. I'm a pug mum.
You are.
And I am a lot of other things in my career. So I'm currently a writer, a ceramics maker, a plant-based recipe creator who struggles with English apparently.
But a very good cook.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, I'll take that too. I also am a yoga teacher and sometimes consultant for campaign strategy and things of the like as well. So I do a lot of things, but what I am is insatiably curious about what lights me up. So I voraciously read and buy too many books that I actually can't keep up with reading because I love to be excited by something new. So I love to explore the stuff that just gets me really, really excited.
Inquisitive mind, always have.
Wow. Oh, good. Tell me more about that.
We have from a young age, new things, always excited you, always searching for new things, which you've taken into your adult life and continue on with.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I always try to look for a perfect narrative to explain what it is that I do and who I am and what I want to achieve. And what I have learned about myself is that that's not for me. And my job is to follow my curiosity, follow what lights me up and push it as far as I can go and see what fun things come out of it. And when I try to stick too closely to a plan or to something that's maybe misaligned, I get all out of whack. I think
all
that's
out of whack.
All out of whack. I think that's enough about me. I'm also a closet, not so closet rev head.
Yeah, yeah.
I love cars.
Love a fast car.
Do love a fast car. Dad used to take me, as you know, but for listener, Dad used to take me to the drag races when I was a little nugget, and I would sit up on the hill with my big headphones on and watch all the jet fuelers and all the fast cars whiz by, and I just loved it. So maybe my penchant for adrenaline and exciting, scary things started at that age.
Comes from your dad too.
And I'd do, what else? Is there anything else interesting about me? I love hip hop. Which is some people think is a bit weird. I'm often referred to as a walking contradiction.
Yes,
I'll get that out.
Yes, you are.
You're
just an interesting person all round.
Oh, thanks.
I find you interesting. You always manage to teach me something.
Oh, thank you.
In our many, many deep conversations, I always take something new out of it, which I find inspiring. Always have.
Oh, thanks, Mum. Well, now I'm not nervous.
So is that why you're making this podcast? To help others?
Definitely.
Inspire them?
Yeah, definitely. It does start, like most things, I think, in life, it does start from a place of my own curiosity. I love people's stories and I want to hear more about it. And it also, though, comes from a place of understanding what I needed when I took my own journey of change and seeking this opportunity to offer that to others. So it's definitely twofold. I want to create the podcast that I wish I had when I was in some of the darker parts of my own change period, when I was really questioning what I was going to do with my life, why I had walked away from a perfectly good career to jump into the unknown and figure life out. And some of those days where I was desperate to explain what it was that I wanted to do with my life, to be understood by others, that I wasn't taking the time to come back and look at what I really wanted for myself. I want to create the thing that could have helped me through that, because I'm sure others are going to have that experience for themselves.
That's so true. So who do you think are the people out there that you want to talk to?
People who have just gone from doing one thing that they thought that they might be doing for the rest of their life and have taken a risk to try something new. So what I'm trying to say is it doesn't necessarily need to be a perfect picture. So someone's
stereotypical tree change type thing.
No, not necessarily towards the slow living vibe. It's more the people that have thrown themselves into a bit of an unknown and have had some really cool learnings along the way. What I sort of mean is it's going to be the type of people that might not themselves have it perfectly wrapped up into a lovely bow where it looks, really, really wonderful and easy.
They're still learning themselves where they want to go and what they want to do.
Absolutely, yeah. People who've done cool stuff, who continue to do cool stuff, but have a really cool message and learning to share with others. I'd love to create a little bit of a community, a bit of a tribe of us that are out there not really knowing what we're doing with our lives and just, trying stuff on for size and seeing how it fits.
Kindred spirit thing.
Yeah, just go, finding the tribe. So, I know I've already recorded with some of the guests. So I know that we have a wonderful author, a PR specialist. We have somebody who has delved into the vegan food industry, who's become a kids nutritionist after a life in PR. So they're the sorts of stories, but the people are those who are equally as curious about themselves and what they can achieve.
Why should people listen to you, Kim? apart from your huge amount of knowledge that you can share with them, why should they listen and talk to you?
Well, thank you. I don't know if it's that huge. There's no bloody pressure. But I think people should listen to me, to the podcast, to the stories, because if you're going through a big period of change in your life, you need to surround yourself with people who support your growth. And I think I'm one of those people. I think I've learned so much about myself over the last couple of years that I can offer some support and can understand how difficult it is to make a big change. And to give some more context to that big change, I guess, because when I talked all about who I am, I forgot to mention who I was back in the day. So I went into a career in radio that I essentially fell into at some stage, and I followed that to the nth degree. So I worked for a number of radio networks, but followed that all around the country until I found myself in Sydney in a job in a major media network, in a wonderful team, doing what was on paper my dream job, essentially running a wonderful department that comes up with creative ideas for clients. So a commercial focus, creating campaigns and getting to work with really smart, really creative people, getting paid really well. Unfortunately, a lot of that money doesn't stay when you live in the middle of Sydney.
Spending very well.
Thank you, rental agreement. But found myself in that, and when working with some of my best friends, but feeling completely misaligned and unable to explain to others why I felt that way, unable to explain to others what it was that I wanted in the career that I had, how I wanted it to evolve, what I wanted to do, just feeling super stuck and super misaligned. Spending too much time and energy blowing off steam and, being a little bit of a shitty human to myself and to other people along the way. So that was me in a nutshell. And then I threw my toys out of the pram, proverbially.
Which you used to do when you were young.
Oh, well, there you go.
You always did that. You had a box of toys in your room, and I would come in and find you in the box and the toys out.
Good.
There you go. The analogy comes back.
Great. I'm so glad I agreed not to edit this episode. But yes, I threw my toys out of the pram and quit with absolutely nothing to go to. So much to the horror and frustration of the people that I was working with, I was throwing away a great job and a great pay packet. And great security for nothing. Well, for what I hoped was going to be greater happiness at the time. And so I went on a journey of self-discovery, which sounds very Byron-esque, but I went and became a yoga teacher, which I did not to learn to teach yoga, but to have my own period of self-discovery and this investment in my mental health and my physical health, because that was two things that I certainly didn't look after for many years prior. No. Mum is tisking. You can't see that, but she looks quite tisky right now. So did that and, had this grand plan to go back into media in a more aligned way after a little bit of time out of it. Thought, yeah, I could get back into it a little bit more aligned, and then I will, craft my side hustle and everything will be beautifully planned, and I'll be able to buy a nice house and build a nice house somewhere in Tasmania. And everything will be grand. But then COVID happened and I couldn't get a job to save my life. So I was all of a sudden unemployed in a deeper level with no sort of plan, no possibility on the horizon. So at that stage, my partner and I packed up our life in Sydney, said goodbye to absolutely everything, and moved ourselves to a tiny corner of the world on the east coast of Tasmania to really go heavy into the self-development and discovering what it was that I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And what I discovered was I don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life, but I know that there are a lot of things that make me very, very curious and excited. Many of them lead back to the same overall premise of following what lights you up and just doing whatever you do with passion and being there for other people and supporting other people and just being a good human. Thank you. I try. Haven't always been a very good human.
I'm very biased. You know that.
Well, you are very biased, but like many of us, I haven't always been a good human and treated myself and others poorly at times. So now all I know that I want to do is share great stories, write great stories as a writer, create beautiful things and do it mindfully and do it in a manner that is true to who I am as an individual. So what I do now, I'm sure, may not always be what I do. But that's my journey. And now here we are today. I just wanted to create something that would have really, really helped me on that very tough journey of change.
Very scary journey, I imagine.
Very scary journey. Yeah. I didn't really know what I was in for, but, here we are.
Here you are.
But that is probably enough about the pod. I probably rambled on long enough and probably put you off of listening to all the episodes. Some of them are going to be, maybe some of the early ones in particular, might be a little bit hairy with my ums and my ahs and my desperate need for heavy editing. But I ask you to bear with me as I grow and change on this podcast journey with you. And if you have listened to this far and are still interested in listening, thank you, because one thing I did learn on the journey of change is how important the support of others is. Just the act of listening, the act of giving you feedback and saying, you're doing a great job, let me share this with my community. Those things are so rare and so invaluable that, I'm just very happy if you're listening and you're still listening and you plan on hitting play on the next episode. I am freaking stoked, and send me a message about it so that I can find out. So connect with me on all of my platforms. For the podcast, it is at Unemployed and Afraid on Instagram. My ceramics and plant-based recipe, happy little corner of the internet, is at Good Side of the Bed. And I personally am also on the gram at Kim Kerton, and it's Kerton spelled Kerton, not like the blinds. Although I was called Cresta in high school, then primary school. If you're from Adelaide, you know Cresta is a curtains and blinds place.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, good times. But that is the pod, and I'm really excited to bring it to you. So thank you for being here, and on to the first episode, I suppose. Mum, thanks for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're very
My
good.
Pleasure.
Quite the natural, I must say.
I don't think so, but...
And she's real pretty, so I might share the video as well.
Oh, don't do that.
All right, that's enough. All right, see you. Bye.
Do I say bye, Mum, now?
I don't know, this is
we'll
weird.
Say bye, Kim. Bye, Kim.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Unemployed and Afraid, the stories of starting over with your host, me, Kim Kerton. If you liked the episode and are keen to hear more, please hit the follow button and leave a review. And let's keep the conversation going on Instagram at Unemployed and Afraid, where there's more goodies and links to today's show notes. See you there.